What's up, YouTube family and fight fans out there? I thought today would be a good day to answer some of your subscribers' comments and questions. I'm not going to be able to get to them all, but I'm going to touch up on a few of them. Thank you for liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and so without further ado, let's get right into this video. So, some of my subscribers made some comments, and I usually just like the comments and so forth. And some of you have questions. Unfortunately, this is crazy, right? I answer the question and I press on the comment. Then when I go back to look for the comment, it's like gone. It's like kind of like if I took it down. I'm not sure, like, if it goes back to where that video was posted, then I would have to like find the video, then go down. I think I'm gonna have to look up on a YouTube tutorial to find out what happens to messages when you freaking. It's interesting enough because this one guy on my channel kept saying that I took down his message, and I can see what he's saying now because some of the ones I wanted to comment back, I was gonna go back and look, and I can't find them. I know they're there. I just gotta find where they are because it seems like they come off that first page. So I can remember a few of them. I just don't remember who said it, right? And if you happen to say this comment, I'm answering your question. All right. One of my subscribers had asked me, why did Mike Tyson break my heart? He wanted to know what was the reason why Mike Tyson broke my heart. And a lot of you probably already know Mike Tyson's story, and you could more or less guess some of the reasons. But to put it into words, right, I guess at the time, Mike Tyson represented something to me. I was a young man, and probably at the time I was going through where you're a teenager as a young man, and it was difficult being a young man at that age, always competing with the other kids in the neighborhood about who was the toughest kid, who was wearing what. And at the time, like, it was a trend to take kids sneakers in the neighborhood, or their Chicago's Bulls jacket, or Raiders gear. That's the era that I grew up in. And when Mike Tyson was such a force in the ring that he made me feel like this, I had to be like him. I adapted this persona, and who I viewed as, the toughest man in my eyes was Mike Tyson. The way he broke my heart was watching him go through his trials and tribulation and unfold on a world stage, on TVs and newspapers and articles, watching him go to jail for rape, watching him, Don King, take all his money, watching the old man die, and the direction he went in, in his addict years, not understanding back then that he was hooked on drugs. I didn't know that. I was still young at the time. And watching him get knocked out by Buster Douglas, man, I cried. My hero just went down. I guess at the time when I really didn't have a lot of male mentors in my life, and the ones that were around me I didn't look up to. He was a figure of power in my life. And when he went and got knocked out like that, and then went to jail, and then came back, and you could see the people around him had changed. He was more like a thug. He wanted to eat people's children and bite people's ears off. He took a different road, and he wasn't no longer the Mike Tyson destructive man. He just looked like a scared little boy that was running, and he was putting on this image of wanting to hurt people, because he didn't want to be hurt anymore, and he broke my heart because I was watching my idol crumble right before my eyes, and then like every young man, or like me anyway, a young man in my situation, what I did is lash out to Mike Tyson. And for a period of time, I no longer wanted to be his fan until life happened to me and I started to understand it. Then I ventured back into Mike Tyson's career, and that's when I can look at it with a different set of eyes and show empathy, compassion, and understand with some of the things that he must have went through, you know. And then I started to respect him once again, and that's why he's on my wall, because Mike was he was just really different when I didn't have a lot of more role models and stuff in my neighborhood. I looked up kind of to the wrong image, and he was just like an image of strength. You know, he was just that for me. And that's kind of some of the reasons why he broke my heart. But today I love Mike. I would love to meet him. You know, what can I say? That's Mike Tyson, man. You know. So, and then to answer some other questions, I had a gentleman ask me about the sanctions and the titles. Some of y'all know how that works. For those that don't know how it works, the sanctioning fees, the ins and outs of it, I'm going to go into it real fast. I'm going to try to but at the same time, you know, educate you. Okay, there are 4 major sanctioning bodies in boxing: WBC, WBA, IBF, and WBO. Now, it doesn't matter where they're located. They all operate basically the same thing because their structure was formed from the first organization, which was the WBA. The WBC spun off of that and became its own entity, and so forth and so forth and so forth. So they kind of have the same structure, meaning the boxing organizations deem their titles to be prestigious. Right? In every sport, you have to have a level in the sport where it is considered the pro of the sport. So by their standards, the WBC, WBA, IBF, and WBO, they are the 4 major sanctioning bodies. Now, if you are lucky to obtain one of their belts, you will pay what they call sanctioning fees. Now, you do not pay sanctioning fees to box. That's free. The only time you pay sanctioning fees is when you hold one of their titles. Now, unfortunately, the way it was there was just one belt in every division. Then there was 2, then there was 3, then there was 4. What happened is that, let's say a champion broke his hand in sparring, right? No sooner that he got back from that injury, he gets in a car accident. No sooner from there he tears a muscle in his bicep. See, now, people are like, man, he's the champion. I understand all these things happen, but we need a shot. So they came up with the idea of the interim title, right? Now, I made up that whole story about, you know, the car accident. Those were just scenarios of how, you know, some things could unfold, right? So they came up with this plan of get the interim belt. And the people were happy. The guy got an interim belt. Either the champion was running, didn't want to fight him. For whatever reason, they came up with it. But what happened was the sanctioning body started getting a little greedy. They got a little smarter, too. For business, it's smart for business. And as a fighter, if it looks like they got a little greedy. Because what they did was they started making these interim belts like they were going out of style. They would make, let's say, for instance, the real belt, just in case you don't know, when they announce it, it's called the WBC Super, the WBO Super, the WBA Super, the IBF Super. That is the main 4 belts. Those are the real world champions. If it doesn't say Super, it's not a world title. That's how you can identify that. If it has a funny name at the end of it, it's going to sound a little like this. They're going to say, he is the WBC Silver Champion of the World. Silver. They're going to say the WBC Gold. They're going to say the WBC Diamond. They're going to say the WBC Franchise. They could say the WBC North Pacific. They could say the Lake Erie, Lake Plaza. I don't care what. They can put whatever your name on the back of that title. It's still not a world champion. They're going to say that you have a piece of the world champion. Here's the problem. Devin Haney right now has all 4 belts. He has all the super 4 belts, right? Okay. So Tank Davis has the WBA interim. There is another champion in that division that has the WBA North Pacific or something like that, they call it. See, because every sanctioning body has a different little name. They're not all the same. See, the WBA doesn't have the WBA Silver. You see, they don't have that. They have like different names for their interim belts. And what happens is this. Here's the truth behind all of this. You pay the exact same amount of money for an interim belt as you do as the real belt for sanctioning fees. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. You're going to pay the same as the amount of money you can pay for that the WBC Silver. You'll have the WBC Super. You'll pay the same sanctioning fees. They'll have you paying, depending on your draw and who you get. There's like a percentage. No matter how much money you make, that's going to be the percentage. So whether, okay, look, if Devin Haney paid $350,000, $350,000 for all 4 belts when he fought George Kamboza, that was a percentage of $2.5 million, I believe it was. It was like 2.5, 2.8, something like that, right? That's how much he paid for them belts off of that, because they run it off how much money you made. So this guy might not pay $350,000 for all 4 of his belts because he didn't make $2.5 million. He might have only made $1 million, right? But it'll be the same percentage-wise. Whatever he made, it's going to be the same percentage. You get what I'm saying? So that's how they go. So the organizations do this, and they rake in a lot of money. They rake in a lot of money. I mean, they have to pay all these people that work, their staff, their organization. And, they have all these belts sent out, handmade craft belts. They're not really made all that well, if you ask me, to being so prestigious. There are multi-million-dollar companies there. Those organizations, they should kind of make these belts look a little bit better in quality. If you see them, I mean, holding one, you're like in the moment. You're like, you're blown away. Yeah, I was like overwhelmed when I saw a real WBC world title. And but after you get past that, you're like, man, they could have, I think it could be a little bit better, the quality and shit. That shit should be real gold. It shouldn't be like fading after like 10 years or something. From my opinion anyway. But I'm getting off the subject. Look, yeah, so you do pay for all those things, but that's the only time you pay. You do not pay to the organizations if you're like the number 1 contender. No, you do not pay anything. What the organizations do exactly with the money, your guess is as good as mine. They've never answered that question in the history of boxing. That's like the unsolved question. Where do we come from? I've never gotten a straight answer from no organization. The answer always changes. It's never been the same answer, man, from none of them. So what they really do with the money, I don't know. I believe they put it and they invested into the sport, but since they don't pay, for the arena to turn on the lights, they don't even pay for putting up the ring. They really don't come out of pocket for nothing. All they do is take money in, the sanctioning bodies. But without their belt and their world stage, you wouldn't be as prestigious as a boxer. The recognition of those titles and the men and women that's held them is what keeps those belts prestigious. Men like Mike Tyson, men like Larry Holmes, men like Sugar Ray Leonard, men like, all those champions, Ali, to hold the belt that Ali held. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? If your favorite fighter was Sugar Ray Leonard, Marvis Hagler, Roberto Duran, Hitman Hearns, who is your greatest fighter? Manny Pacquiao, Floyd, Mike Tyson, who's your greatest fighter? And just dream about holding the belts they once held. Get the hell out of here, bro. I wouldn't want any other belt. I don't care if you paid me more money to box in another country and you could put your Asian North Pacific or a Russian championship belt and act like you're a champion. It's not going to look the same. It's not going to be the same allure. Go to New York City with that belt on, and try to tell the world you're a champion. And they're going to look at you like, champion of what? It's those belts. And that's where the professional level is. It's the same thing of like having a Vince Lombardi trophy. You can go overseas and win that trophy over there in the European football scene. Bring that trophy over here and put it next to that Vince Lombardi. Come on, man. And that's where the belts come into play. We're competing for those belts, man. So, and to answer some more questions, what I think about one of my subscribers said about, the Camille Molen situation with Naoya Inoue and that they can see them further in the future. I had said that in a few of my videos. If you want to go check out a couple of my videos in the back, I made some videos about that. And that's what I was saying when I first came out and started seeing Mayweather tripping on social media, ripping on this Japanese kid. And I was like, whoa, Floyd, what are you doing, kid, right? Because don't shit on a decorated boxer like him. A guy that's coming up, putting up that much kind of work. I don't, see the point in that. At the time, I didn't see, this is Floyd's sport. This is the sport he loves. Why is he going to shit on his own sport for you not to tune in? And Floyd knows this. Whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, if you tune in eyes to boxing, it's always good because you're watching it, right? So I was like, whoa, Floyd. When they were talking shit about you and when you were the champion and you were going through all this, you weren't too keen with that. You had Floyd Mayweather went at it with a couple Max Callingham. How many times Floyd Mayweather and Max Callingham went at it? Huh? How many times did Floyd went at so it took me back, right? And now I see, because Floyd already knew that this kid Camille Molen was coming up, and he has a potential to grabbing one of those belts at 126. And let's just be honest, at this point, Floyd Mayweather can play keep away with that belt, because that kid right now is not ready for such a decorated fighter. Let's just be honest. That's why there's levels to this. I don't care how good he looks. I know Camille Molen has potential. Do I have the belief that he could one day possibly be on the same level as a fighter like a Naoya Inoue? Yeah. Naoya Inoue came out the gate pretty polished, just like that kid. And Naoya Inoue came out at 19 years old. He's coming out at 17. So it's this real interesting situation where he's at. So yes, I agree. They could, and I said this in one of my videos. If you didn't notice this, Naoya Inoue, you put 6 years on Naoya, and you put 6 years on Camille Molen. They are exactly the same age as Floyd Mayweather and Saul Canelo Alvarez was when they came into their fight. They will be the exact same age. So is this destiny on the horizon? So Yeah, it's a potential fight right there. Now, David Benavidez, right now, one of my subscribers also talked about David Benavidez and, his upcoming fight. Like, look, we've all known this, that David Benavidez has been Saul Canelo Alvarez is mandatory for the WBC for 3 years. We know this. And the thing between him and everybody that claims to be the mandatory, he actually filled out the paperwork and has successfully filled it out for the past 3 years. And for some reason, the WBC is just not stripping Canelo Alvarez. Not for some reason. He's the best Mexican fighter, and they're a Mexican organization. Yeah. I wouldn't cut him neither. If I was the WBC, say you're the WBC and you're running the WBC. Tell me you strip Canelo Alvarez. That's your biggest cash cow right now. Go. Because you think he's ducking people in the division. You're not going to do it as a business standpoint. So don't look at the WBC and like, oh, this is corruption. No, this ain't corruption. It's dollars and cents, baby. Ain't no corruption because the WBC can't get in the ring fight for him. All right, so it's all about money. It's all about business. 3 years, you're the mandatory, and they've never stripped you? Bro, they stripped Jamel Charlo. They stripped Devin Haney. The WBC just stripped Devin Haney. Because after successfully defending the titles, he didn't even get one fight in. They stripped him from moving up. Saul Canelo Alvarez has been up, down, and they've never stripped him. That's what I'm saying. But our American guy, Devin Haney, stripped. That's where I see sometimes they don't treat fighters the same. But as a business standpoint, if I'm the WBC's main president and the money's coming in, because remember, whoever makes the most money, that percentage, we get paid more, right? So, there's no one in. Listen, if I was the manager, the head guy at WBC, and somebody stood up and said, maybe we should strip Canelo Alvarez, pack your shit, you're fired. Matter of fact, don't ever come back here again. Yo, on the way out to the punch him in the back of the head. Huh? Real hard, too. Huh? You ever say we're going to strip Canelo Alvarez? Shit. You know what I mean? And that's what it is. I always express this, and I'm going to continue to say it. You have to remember, boxing is a sport, is a business disguised as a sport. I'm going to say it again. Boxing is a business disguised as a sport. Remember that. Okay? The good thing about boxing, though, it's hand-to-hand combat, and we are competing in a global stage against all the best fighters in the world. If you're a young man out there and you're watching this video and you're a fighter and you're thinking about becoming a fighter, there are levels to becoming a fighter in all aspects to the game. There's an amateur level and there's a pro level, but you gotta start at an amateur level. Coming in, you can't be concerned about what no one else thinks about you, what you think they think about you. No, that cannot be in the back of your mind. You cannot say to yourself, I want to wait till I get better at this. No, your mindset has to be, I'm going to get better at this. Practice makes perfect. You have to understand repetition. You can't just throw a jab and say, okay, let's work on the next punch. That's a mistake. To master just one jab, it will take you at least a good 2 to 3 months to really make that fluent, second nature in your head. Okay? You don't have to think about throwing the jab. Before that, you have to tell yourself to throw that jab and how to throw it with what form. That means you have not mastered it. When you master the jab, your body's not telling it. You know he came in range and your hand snaps off. Whap! And reminds him, hey, stay out there. That's what a jab is. And your jab is to indicate your range. Because if you're punching him in the face with your jab, that means your right hand could be right behind it. He's in range for target for the right. And then if he moves it, it's a range finder. Then you work on other combinations, right? But the level of dedication for you to get up out of bed every day and jog, jump rope, wrap your hands, and there's other things that come behind it. Wash your boxing shorts, your socks, your hand wraps. They start to stink. Nobody talks about that. Get a mouth guard. Melt it. Fit it into your face. That's your stuff. Watch your bag in your gym sometimes. Like, where are you going? Like, who's training you? Why are you doing this? You know, like, all these things come into you wanting to start being a boxer. And what if you start off your career and you lose your first 10 fights? And your girlfriend and your friends look you right in the face and say, yo, this is not for you. Well, there have been men like that in boxing. Lost their first 10 fights. And through hard work and perseverance and never, ever giving up on what they wanted to be, they became a world champion. I'm telling you, it's how much do you want it at that point? So there's been a lot of comments in the comment sections, and I try to answer them all as best as I can. And there's some that I did want to, but through the course of events, as you can see, I'm fairly new at this. In my last video, everything was going good, and all of a sudden the audio went up at the last end of the video. I was just like, this is ridiculous. I have to remember everything, but I'm working on it and I'm getting better at it because of the fact that I'm persevering and I'm not taking no for an answer. I enjoy what I do. I enjoy my hobby, and I enjoy sharing my knowledge of boxing. And I also enjoy learning from the comments that I receive from you guys. I learn a lot from my comments. A lot of you guys say a lot of interesting stuff, and you can hear me come back and repeat it for the other viewing audience. When you give me something and you hear me say it, that's not me stealing it from you. That's you sharing it with me and me sharing your content with the world. Thank you. Look, I try to be unbiased here. I try to give my best take on fights. And when you hear me talk about fights, sometimes you might want to ask yourself, well, whose side is he on? Does he like this guy? Because sometimes he'll talk about him and then he'll talk down about him. Whose side is he on? Does he like him? I'm on no one's side. I'm reporting boxing. You guys are the ones that can pick the sides. I'm going to be unbiased. This is not the Naoya Inoue YouTube channel. If I'm going to speak up about his competition because they have the right to shine too. And I said Tapales has a chance here. Hey, speaking of Naoya Inoue, did you see that little sparring match against the Filipino guy for 3 rounds, 2-minute rounds? And the Filipino was touching Naoya up in the second round. When I first saw it, I was like, ooh, is he getting slower or are these guys getting faster? But because by first glance, I thought like, wow, this guy's really getting to the Japanese guy better than most fighters I had seen get to him, And then I found out the logistics of it all. It was only 3 rounds, 2-minute rounds, and an exhibition match, which Naoya Inoue participated in and donated all the money. He did it for free. Check that out. He's a stud, right? Anything to get in a ring and punch a man in the face, the legends, the best, and the greats, they're like that, man. And he was also taking the opportunity to fight a Filipino fighter, a former champion. If that's not sending a message, Like I just went in there and beat on your boy too. And it was headgear though. It was headgear. So, and the gloves were bigger. I believe they fought with 10-ounce gloves, or maybe it was 12. It was not professional gloves. I want to keep that in mind. And then the reason why not Naoya Inoue, I'm saying it better by the way. Thank you for everybody sending me those little quotes, man. I've been reading, I've been trying, I've been rocking this guy's name all this time. I know it. Some of us can't pronounce words, Hey, but he what when I found out it was 3 rounds, then I found out the urgency. He allowed the guy to hit him because he wanted to get in there and get some work in. That's a sparring match. He has a good chin, and now Inoue, him and the guy were exchanging good, and for as much money as that small crowd paid to witness that, he wanted to also give them a show. But keep it in mind, he did it for free. He didn't take any money. Okay? So, listen, man, he's good for the sport. That Japanese guy is really good. He's good for the sport. I respect him a lot. Hats off to him. His upcoming bout, December 26th. I'm not getting confirmation yet on the venue, where it's being held. I know it's in Japan, but exactly where, what venue. They said 2 already. And what I'm getting sources from, they're saying 2 different places. So, I haven't got that yet. Because I've heard people already say where it's going to be held and stuff. It's just that, listen, I can't report everything that I don't know to be fact. Just because this guy says it on YouTube doesn't make it so for me. I'm trying to tell you, I only live by facts here, or at least I try to. Until I know that shit is sketched in stone, it's not coming out of these lips. I'm sorry. I can't lie to you. I'm not even for a small thing like that. And I say, I come on and saying, because in the back of my mind, I feel like I'm lying, man. And I try to teach myself to be a more straightforward man today. I let my yeses be my yes and my no's be my no. If I can't do something, it's no. If I could do it, it's yes. I'm not going to let you get me to say maybe or something like that. No. I stay firm on what I'm saying. I try to be as straightforward as I can. And I try to be as honest and as fair as I can at all times, because I adapted this mindset because I realized that I lived a certain kind of life. I lived the kind of life that, if I told you I was going to be there, there was no telling if I was going to show up. If I told you I was going to do something, there was no telling if I was going to do it. If you asked me to do something, there was no telling when I was going to do it. Today I try not to procrastinate with nothing, because procrastinating, if I teach it even at a small level in my life, it becomes procrastination. Meaning if I know I got to get something done, boy, I try to get up and do it, because if I say no to that later on when I got to go work out, I'm going to say, no, I'm tired. And I've just taught myself throughout the day how to procrastinate more. So if I keep myself accountable for the things I need to be done today, then they'll get done. I know they're going to get done. So as I've gotten older, I've gotten wiser, and these are some of the things I use to try to keep my mind focused, because I realize that my mind, my body, and my heart are 3 separate entities. I've heard the expression mind, body, and spirit. I view it a little different. I view it mind, body, and heart. I started realizing like each of them are a separate entity. I don't know why, right? But I know when I felt like emotional things, like real hard emotional things, I felt them in my chest and my heart. When I feel sad and I feel love and stuff, it comes from here. It doesn't come from here. And I don't feel it in my body like that. I feel it here, and then it radiates through my body. You know, the feeling. Physically, when I work out, I don't feel my heart or my brain. I feel my muscles. You see? And when I'm thinking through shit, I don't feel my muscles or my heart. I feel my brain thinking. You see? And I started thinking that my brain, my heart feels things, sings it to my brain, and then my brain kind of responds. But my brain is neither like smart or dumb, right? He just does what he's told to do. And he doesn't know how to stop the thoughts. You know, the brain just, throughout everything it's learned, it just keeps playing. And I got to tell it to shut up sometime. Quiet, right? And then I speak from my heart, and I meditate with my body. You know, that's just something I've never been taught that. That's something I developed on my own. You know, it's just the way I think. It's the way I feel. You know, and I started just developing that kind of way of thinking. You know, like I shared with you guys, I told you this expression, keep your friends close, but your enemy even closer. When I heard that expression, it wasn't an enemy I was looking for. Keep your friends close, because your friends are going to be there for you. Your greatest enemy is yourself. You are your greatest enemy. I don't need anybody to get me in trouble, right? I'm my greatest enemy, you know, and I'm my worstest critic at times, you know, because I've been told that I had this real kind of like insight of viewing things. And if I can view it for you guys, I do it all the time inward. I do that all day, all the time. I ask myself, what are you thinking about? What are you doing? Like, did you get shit done today? Did you not get shit done today? Like, you know, today I ask myself those kind of questions. You know, every time I judge something, like I'm thinking inside of my head throughout the day about a fight or something, and like in the image inside of my head, I fantasize of how I either win or be good at a sport or something, and fantasize being a champion. Then I stop and I ask myself, what is that thought doing for you? How do you benefit from that? Did you learn anything from it? All right, so let's just stop those kind of thoughts. What kind of thoughts should you be having? So I started adapting that kind of mindset. You see, I started trying to eliminate some of those kind of thoughts, but I realized that they're good at some point. You know, they allow me to feel like open and, you know, and at least feel the dream a little, but also stay in tune with reality that, okay, this is my life and this is what my surroundings are. You know, there are a lot of pitfalls in the world, and sometimes there are a lot of things that are said to distract you from what's really going on in the world, and sometimes we have to take a step back and really think about what we're taking in. You know, there are a lot of big news things out there on YouTube, and, you know, to most people they might be exciting to talk about. Some things are a little bit, you know, like some things took me like 30 seconds to figure out, right? But I'm amazed at how many people will talk, millions will talk about this subject, you know, but it took me about 30 seconds to figure this one out, you know, and it took me about another 30 seconds to figure the next one out. I'll tell you what they are, right? There's this big, huge debate whether the world is flat or round, right? And real quick, it took me 30 seconds to figure this out. I'm trying to tell you. And there's another debate on whether we are living like in a bubble or a sphere, or we're like hamsters inside of a ball. You know, I'm pretty sure a lot of you heard this. And that in Antarctica, wherever you want to put this door at in the world, that there's a door or somewhere, or, you know, cave, whatever, however you want to, I'm going to word it as a door, make this simple, that leads to the real world, right? Okay. So to both of those questions, right, it took me 30 seconds to figure both of these things out, right? In my brain, the way I think. Check this out. Stay with me on this, right? Real quick. I'm going to do this real quick. Just answer me this question, right? I want to know what you guys think about this. If there was really a door there that led to the real world, would you go through it? And if the world was really flat, right? Okay, and they proved it, and they, let's just say that they told you, and we all found out tomorrow the world was actually flat. Okay, so if there's a world there, there's a door there, and the world's flat, right? Whatever version you want it to be. Okay, this is what I have to say to all of that. None of that shit matters. None of it. It doesn't matter if the world's round, flat, rectangular. You're still gonna be on it. The fact that it's flat or round, what the hell does that got to do with anything? It could be oval. We could be on a fucking, it doesn't matter. You would still be here, right? The topic of arguing about it is ridiculous because technically, does it matter if it's round, flat, or what does it change? We've been living under this condition with it, doing everything we're doing, whether whatever shape it is. It really has no relevancy. Okay. So, and then the theory about the door thing, right? To go into a new world, would you go through the door, right? And my thing is this, right? This world taught me that lesson. This world right here. Everything I went through in my life taught me this one lesson, right? No matter if there's a door and there's another world out there, that doesn't solve your problems. When you go through that door, it just opens up a new set of problems. Do you know anybody over there? You speak their language? You got somebody where to sleep tonight. You have a car waiting for you. You're just going into another world to learn a new set of rules then. Because apparently if that world is better than ours and we have rules here, what do you think? They have no rules over there? You're just going to have to learn everything all over again. Fuck that. Go through the door. I'm going to lock it. Everything I need is right here. Listen, this is what I'm saying. If you were the same person and you got on a bus on Boston and you took that bus and you took it to California, you got off that bus, would you change as a person? Where you're at doesn't change you. It doesn't help your situation. It's not going to change you as a person. Learn how to live here. Learn how to live in the now. What are you doing for yourself for you? That's what you should be asking yourself. That's what I should be asking myself. I don't care about no door. Man, I can't make it on this planet. It's been hard enough figuring out everything here. You really think that brings me any solace or comfort? Right? It doesn't matter. Check it out. If the world's flat, you don't go to work on Monday? Nah, you're going to work on Monday. You've always been going to work on Monday. Just because you found out it was flat, that don't change nothing. Absolutely nothing. The fact that, listen, you see how they put these things to try to distract you from what really we should be asking ourselves. You know, what I do today? What am I going to eat today? What am I going to study? What am I going to learn? Did I do everything in my day today to get there tomorrow? And perhaps tonight I could talk about my day and prepare for tomorrow. That way I know exactly what I'm going to do rather than waking up having no idea what to do. Or am I waking up every day and just going into autopilot? Like I wake up, drink my coffee, get dressed, go to work, go to the same place for lunch, get out of lunch, come back. You know, did I do anything for me? What did I do? Do I like to build hobbies? Do I want to build a freaking kite? What is it that I've been wanting to get to? Maybe I should get to that thing. And that's just what I'm saying, that there's just a lot of distractions in the world that can take us away from what we really need to do. You know, they got us arguing in barbershops and places and talking on laptops and debating things and taking up all our time and all our day rather than, you know, me getting some stuff done and taking in the educational things that I need to take in, you know, and learn from them and apply them in my everyday thing. And that's what I try to do, you know. So look, that's what I have for you today. If you like the videos, please give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, and you know, sometimes we can talk about more than just boxing, you know, but always educating, you know, and try to like always find something you want to get done for you. You know, some of us go through life pleasing everyone else. When are you going to take the time out for yourself? And some of us are real self-centered, and we don't take the time out for no one else. Today, maybe take the time out for someone else. Whatever your situation is, love yourself and always bet on yourself. Push yourself further than you did the day before. And always strive to be the best you can. With that, I'll leave you. Round One Sports Talk. I love to be your host, Montalvo. I never say my name, huh? Please like, subscribe to the video. And like always, I'm on to the next. Peace.